can see a Dino game running on the screen, but I think it's very sloggy. Are you playing it, Selva?
Hi, I didn't see you come there. Okay, so it was something I was preparing to showcase you guys. Right now, you just
Okay.
saw an introduction, right? It was playing very soggy.
Yeah, it was very sloggy.
Yeah. Let's see
Yeah, it
after
was
the
very
interview,
sloggy.
we'll have a look at it again. Okay.
Okay, sounds interesting. So, for all those who have joined back Kirtik Vasan Talks, so let me introduce you to our speaker once more. So, we have Selva Logesh joining us today, and he is working as a conversational chatbot engineer with TCS. And today he is here to tell us the impacts of how automation in the IT industry is changing the landscape of how we work in the digital world. So, Selva, briefly take us to through the agenda of the session today.
So the agenda of this session would be automation is coming everywhere, right? Mainly in computer science field, everybody is talking about it, and also they are arguing and having debates. So in my field, every day I'm looking at what is being automated, and I'm analyzing what can be automated. So today, to the viewers, let me simplify what automation levels are. So see, there's three stages of automation. Okay, one is the first third stage. It is very simple. One kind of script that takes in inputs and then gives output, and it does it repetitively. And the second stage would be chatbot kind of thing right now that I'm working on. So it won't learn on its own, okay, over the time. Somebody has to like take the data, condition the data, and then provide the data as an input. Then after all those steps, probably using the data, it will do some intelligent smart work. And the third stage is you don't have to condition or provide it any structured data per se. So you just have to show it an environment and then give it a task, and it will automatically learn on its own as it goes by like doing random things in the environment. And that kind of automation is the third level, which is what many of them are trying to achieve, but that kind of autonomous system has not yet come.
Okay, so Selva, now that you have taken us through the various level of automation, I'm just curious if you can demonstrate through some live example how the automation is really taking over manual works and making it simpler for us.
Okay, so recently, I had a problem statement. My mother is a teacher, and as you know, this COVID situation has got all the teachers working or teaching from home, and exams are being conducted for students. So, how the system in the school is set up is people or the students will write exams, and then they'll take a photo and then upload it to a system. And these teachers, when I saw them correcting, I saw my mom looking at an Excel file, and then there's a link. She'll press on that link and it will download a photo. After that photo, she will tick and do everything and then put the mark. So what I saw was there were 10 photos, that is 10 questions per student, okay? And there were 60 students in one section, there was two section, and then there was three classes that she was teaching. Automatically you can
Mhm.
see that is more than 600 or 1000 clicks that she has to do to download or just to complete one class. So right now I will show you one script. It is a fast forward version of how that works. Okay, you could see that, right? In 30 minutes,
Mm.
or sorry, in 30 seconds, it is a fast forward of 7-minute video. So in 30 seconds, what happened was all the 60 students images got downloaded into a folder, and then I can just zip this folder and then send it to her. Now right now
Mhm.
teachers on seeing this, I've started using this in what to say classes also right now. So these kind of automation is the third level automation. It is really powerful if you know the application right. Okay, so it probably
Mm-hmm.
took me like 30 minutes to write the script, but it is the most useful coding that I've ever done till now because it has a real world application, and also it is what to say helping a lot of teachers do their job a little easier. uh, Even in working in what to say enterprise kind of systems, most of the time I have seen that for the application that they need, even chatbot or even machine learning algorithm is a bit too overkill, if I should say.
Mm-hmm.
If the requirement is understood correct and if the implementation is done right, even a simple script that took 30 minutes to write can have a huge impact on any kind of what to say place or job. This has already caused a huge wave in IT industry, and most of the people are already writing scripts to automate their meetings also. Actually, they will
Mm-hmm.
pre-record this and then they will go into meeting just nodding their head. See, those kind of automations are fun to do. Okay, and then comes the second level. You need a huge amount of learning data. Those kind of automations are where chatbots are. So uh, let me show you these simple scripts. Let the Dino running in the background. So here I marked certain machine learning, what to say, repositories that are good for learning. We'll put these descriptions also, links also in the description. But
Okay.
if for viewers who want to like start into chatbot or all those things, this is a open source platform. Okay, it's called botpress.io, and it is like a great place for you to get started and quickly build on even complex applications. So for example, recently we built a system in an hackathon for COVID-19. Wait, let
Mm-hmm.
me show you that. And yeah, so I'll just start the servers. I don't know if my system can handle all this. There's a backend code running. Okay, let's see. Uh, yeah, so when it's starting up, I'll just quickly tell what this is.
Mm-hmm.
So the first server is a Duckling server. This is created
Mm-hmm.
from what to say Facebook team, and this is also open source. So everything that I'm showing you here is completely open source. Okay, and this one, the second, this is a language server. Basically it is understanding what language we are trying to implement. So this is running English language. And the third
Mm-hmm.
one, this is the chatbots what to say dialogue server. So this will take the input from whatever we are trying to tell it, and then it will give you the output. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so let me open up, okay, one second, web page for this. Okay, test. This is an app that we built called Sophia for a hackathon that required a COVID-19 what to say entry for a place that has checking. We'll answer a series of questions, yes or no. Okay, based on
Mm-hmm.
those answers, it will generate a QR code. See, you're eligible for
Mm-hmm.
entry, and then this QR code you can scan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you may be eligible for COVID testing. Access denied. Got it. So you can scan this QR code, and based on that, you can it will tag you to whatever place you have to go. See, this
Okay.
imagine, like, just guess how much time it took for me to build this.
It took you a day.
No. With this, what to say, latest, not, I shouldn't say latest, open source building platform, it took me
Mm-hmm.
almost 2.5 hours. And it's an
Oh, that's
hackathon.
great.
So the entire hackathon is in a day. You have to complete the coding in a day. So if I take a day,
Mm-hmm.
I can't submit my code. So while my custom logic is, I implemented all my custom logic in the QR code generation and the questionnaires part and the yes or no choices. Okay, and the back end of HTML, CSS, and this dialogue engine that you see if the conversation that we just had. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let me just show that. See, all the conversation are here. So the action one, string zero, string action, what action to take for that. I put zero and one because laziness.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so whatever actions that we took, pressing the key or anything, all those actions are recorded
Mm-hmm.
over here. All this backend process is same for most of the application. So for most of the application, if all the backend process is the same, then why do we need to recreate everything, right? Already these open source platforms have built it. This is how most
Mm-hmm.
of the development work is done, even in enterprise application systems. Everything
Mm-hmm.
depends on a few open source projects. So
Okay.
that is where your entire strength comes in. If you can read the GitHub pages, if you can read the Stack Overflow pages, and then learn from those links and try out those codes, from those you can learn a lot and implement a lot. That is a
Mm-hmm.
great place to start for any entry level kind of people who want to get into chatbot. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I'll leave all the links in the description to whatever I've did and whatever link repositories or code bases that is really helpful. I will show them
Mm-hmm.
everything.
So, Selva, just clarify this thing that is it necessary for a person to come from a science or an engineering background, or like can anyone leverage the computational advantages in any of the field? Because since these or the level of automation is penetrating in every other domains which we are seeing today. So, how should one equip himself with the requisite skills in order to deploy such computational advantages in for their own benefit?
Okay, this is a really impactful question. If you see, there's automation coming in biomedical equipments, there's automation coming in mechanical manufacturing processes, and there's automation coming in civil diagrams and previously structures. Even financial sector is hugely impacted by automation.
Mm-hmm.
Entirety of banking would be pen and paper in the previous just 2 or 3 years. But in the 2 or 3 years that has happened, there's a huge wave in banking sector. That is, there's a push to systems. So this push to
Mm-hmm.
systems has been happening for many years now. Since the start of 2008 in India, we were trying to go towards server-based architecture and everything in cloud, even for banking. But after
Mm-hmm.
this 2016, 2017, and in those years, there were automation in a level that was not seen before. So implementation of UPI means there were huge volumes of data that was coming in between banks and even within banks. So now anybody
Mm-hmm.
can transfer within bank without any what to say service fee. So there was huge volumes of this IMPSE transactions, and the banks had to upgrade to a server, and they had to automate all the process. Previously, if you write a check, somebody has to see the check and then validate it and then sign it, right? Now it
Mm-hmm.
is the same backbone that IMPSE is built on, but there's a volume increase. Now you won't have a person like seeing on the check and then writing it. What you will have is
Mm-hmm.
some patchwork of different systems that will automatically read the what to say generated invoice or generated code, and then automatically
Mm-hmm.
process their own banking system. So that has created huge impact in financial sectors. If you see, right now we can pay all our school fees, our college fees online, and also we
Mm-hmm.
can what to say function right here from home, bring anything to our home, and also command any outside activity right here, like purchasing or even OLX transactions. Everything has been automated in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
In those places, it is the third level automation that really speaks. They have not even started on the second level automation, the chatbot thing, the huge data volume. It is huge number of the script, like the one that I showed you previously starting, right? It is just one page
Mm-hmm.
script that takes in a set amount of data from an Excel or something, and then it processes it and then does a action with it. Human, if
Mm-hmm.
they have to do it, it is really tedious. Each day they have to do 500 tasks, 400 tasks repetitively every day. It is not possible. We were not built for that kind of work, right? We were built for creative work. And even in TCS, I see this a lot. People getting exhausted on copy pasting kind of stuff. Nowadays, everybody has automated all the things, and it has left a lot of what to say free time for people to innovate in the business, and that is the main driver for businesses to also go towards these kind of automation. So you don't need a lot of knowledge in the sense coding wise or even data processing wise to do the third level kind of automation. Probably if you're working on a system, think of how you can automate your day-to-day task. That is where you start. Okay. So if your day-to-day
Mm-hmm.
task is like reading a config file and then generating a status, try to automate that process. That is how you should start into automation. Once you go into that, you will be exposed to a whole different world of data processing, machine learning, k-maps algorithm. And when you are exposed to that kind of world, come over here and see all the machine learning experiments that they do, algorithms that they see, because in reality, there's almost what to say, only 5 or 6 algorithms. Okay, these 5 or 6 algorithms, they are being used in a lot of place repetitively again and again. K-mean, the most what to say popular classification algorithm is k-means algorithm. You should check out
Mm-hmm.
what k-means is. And there's unclustered forest algorithm, that is also for
Mm-hmm.
unclustered kind of data. You can put that algorithm. So instead of learning one particular language, should I learn asking should I learn Python or should I learn C++, should I learn JavaScript, language doesn't matter. It is the algorithm that you're going to implement that language on, that is what counts. So even if you're
Mm-hmm.
going into interviews of AWS or sorry, the Amazon interviews or Google interviews, first thing they will ask you is, can you print a what to say binary tree in node wise and post node wise data structures, they will ask you.
Mm-hmm.
So these kind of implementations, if you learn, your language skills will be secondary. Your knowledge will be the first what to say showcasing factor. So you should do a
Mm-hmm.
lot of projects in that. You should read a lot of GitHub codes, copy others' GitHub codes, because that is why they have put it in GitHub for the world to see and then
Mm-hmm.
learn from that, right? So take advantage of that. Take go to GitHub and then download the code and then see how they have done it, and then just try to run it and see how everything works out. Okay, that is the
Mm-hmm.
starting point.
Great, great, Selva. So I think that was a very informative session with you. So Selva, is the Dino playing well now?
Oh, okay, let's see how it is doing. Okay, so if you see, it has learnt a lot from what we started. It has still not learned to avoid the bird, but in terms of what to say, avoiding the catters, I think it has learned a lot. So this kind of what to say algorithm that learns based on a set score value and then generation. This is the first kind of level. It automatically understands its environment and then solves these kinds of issues. So this code is not mine actually. This is from GitHub, from a user called Code Bullet. So you should go and check out his repository. The link will be in the description. So since it is open source, you can download his code and then you can run its code right now on your system. So the thing is, I'm good at these kind of things. See, these kind of numbers that is running in the background. But this kind of visualization that he has created, right? It is a far better tool to showcase to new entry level users and also to intrigue their what to say interest into the machine learning code behind it. This is basically a evolution based algorithm. uh, so it is called augmented neural network evolution. uh, these kind of algorithms also, it is really easy to implement and also really fun to work with. If you see, I can see the simulation for hours and hours around. So do check out his page. He has created a lot of other simulations just like this one. And yeah, this visualization is the kicker actually. You see, there's attributes over here and then there's actions over here, and the thickness of the line is basically the weight of each attribute that it takes and then the end decision that it makes. It is easy for me to explain over here rather than to explain things over this number, right? After every generation it is giving a status report kind of thing. So it should be around still I think the evolution is going, yeah, still it is not. Whenever this all the population dies out in this particular generation, a status report of the generation, yeah, see, will be generated, and that status report will be basically used for the next generation. Yeah, check out this repository and try out everything.
So viewers, you can also go on and check out a previous talk given by Selva on what recruiters actually look for in engineers, and we also have many more upcoming sessions with Selva. So please stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, and never miss the updates. Thank you, Selva.